Good evening. Thank you for watching Mikasa Sukasa. I am your host, Niko House. And I urge you all to join our One Follow, $1 campaign, where we show the mainstream media that if they will not commit to telling the truth and searching for the truth, then we will donate and support those who will. You can join the campaign by donating $1 to the Patreon link below to show that you are willing to fight against the establishment and the establishment media. Also, make sure you click that like or the subscribe button, like the video, and also turn on that notification bell to make sure that that you're getting alerted when we post some new content. So Howard Dean himself, you know, Mr. Pyaw, that guy. A lot of people forget that's what he's famous for, but yeah, Howard Dean is back at it again with the bullshit, to put it quite bluntly. Essentially, Howard Dean has already told us that he is not going to support Bernie Sanders during the 2020 election. First he said, I don't know if I'll support him. Then he said, yeah, but I wouldn't support him. Now, he also said that he kind of wouldn't support Joe Biden just because they're so old and we need to turn over the keys to the young folk, is what he said. You know, that's what we need to be doing. Now, I figured that when he started the sentence with saying, I feel like we need new young talent, we need to follow the youth, the progressive this, because, you know, they love talking about that progressive stuff when they about to drop some real establishment shit. Okay? So, progressive, they've been doing well, Medicare for all, woohoo, things like that. And then, of course, it was, but I want a young person. Now, when I hear I want a young person, what I really hear is I do not want Bernie Sanders having control over this party, period. Because my thing is, I definitely understand why we would want someone younger. I get that. I think that there is a lot that my generation and a few years older has to offer in politics. I think we've already exemplified that on several different fronts. Clearly, we knew the right candidate to pick, and y'all didn't listen to us, so. But Howard Dean is being conniving. He is being a snake. He is trying to get ahead of the curve because he's telling you right now he's not supporting Bernie Sanders, and he is absolutely going to support a younger candidate. He said, oh, we don't know anything about finances. You know, pretty much he was saying their understanding of how money works is antiquated, which in a lot of ways is. Except for Bernie Sanders. So all of the negatives, and once again, I'll post the article below so you can look at it, but and I urge you all to look at the video on YouTube as well, but all of the negatives that come with voting for someone who's older that he put out didn't apply to Bernie Sanders. He actually is extremely good on fiscal policy, very good on taxation. Obviously, he's very common sense when it comes to gun laws as well. Common sense for the most part when it comes to wars. He's a dino in the sense that he is old, but he is not a dino in the sense of an old establishment hack who wants to continue the status quo for their own personal benefit and the benefit of their families and the people that they're indebted to. So, but the fact that Howard Dean is talking about this right now, he tried to say, oh, Bernie Sanders isn't running, not to my knowledge. Like, he wanted to go ahead and toss out that idea that Bernie Sanders was even running, even though Bernie Sanders made it clear that he is not ruled out running, and even went already on record to say that if he did run, because of the lack of infrastructure in any other party right now, and obviously he's not going to go into the Republican Party, that he would run as a Democrat. So why he's pretending as if you know, Bernie Sanders isn't running is kind of ridiculous, I think. Like, it doesn't make I'm confused as to why he's pretending that he didn't know that. But I'll tell you, he's trying to excommunicate the idea that Bernie is the candidate that we need. And even though he says, hey, you know, I'm all about the young progressives. He said, I think I'm gonna go with we need the Kamala Harrises, the Kristen Gillibrands, the Chris Murphys of the world. That's who I want to go for. One of them. Some people we haven't even heard of yet. And I'm thinking, so you want a bunch of untested, unproven people whose policies are whose political stances are so malleable that they would become easily exposed the moment they went up against Trump. Hell, even the moment they entered the Democratic primary. They would get exposed the entire time, once again, because the vast majority of the American population prefers Bernie Sanders. And so what does that mean we do? We spend, obviously, a lot of time propping up Bernie Sanders and his political stances and his policies, which we know very well, but we don't have to do that much anymore, simply because we know who Bernie Sanders is, luckily based off of the name recognition that he did not have during the 2015-2016 elections, our Democratic primaries. We are going to have a lot of free time in our hands. That means we just find opposition research. That means your Kamala Harris's and how friendly and cozy she is with the private prison industry, and how anti-social she is, or excuse me, when I say social, I mean anti-socialist as far as her social policies, and her horrible track record with the minority community, that will get exposed. Like Cory Booker, his horrible record in the medical industry, in the pharmaceutical industry, will get exposed. And the list will go on and on and on until all you have left is Bernie Sanders. And if you cheat him again, which it would be extremely hard and implausible to do, because the only way that you could cheat him before was by superdelegates. Well, you can give whoever you want almost every single superdelegate, and it won't matter because Bernie Sanders is literally just that popular. So if you cheated him at this very moment, considering, and once again, that took a concerted effort by every establishment member of the Democratic Party, thinking that they were going to get a position with the Hillary Clinton camp, which is a lot more valuable than a position in the Kamala Harris camp. Nobody gives a shit about Kamala Harris. Nobody even knows. Nobody knew her. She has no significant accomplishments politically or achievements politically or anything. So, other than getting a position and saying that she held it, that's it. That's her only good. Same. Cory Booker, same thing. People of Jersey, most of them hate him. He is a crook. So you're going to either, one, have a Bernie Sanders victory, or you're going to, two, cheat Bernie Sanders out again, which is very plausible. I'm being realistic. It's very plausible for them to cheat him out again, push a Kamala Harris or a Cory Booker, and lose again. That simple. There is no other option. If the Democratic Party wants to be successful going forward, they must make sure that Bernie Sanders wins. I mean, the superdelegates, they were all united behind Hillary Clinton in the past. But like I said, that's because it was a gravy train riding with the Clintons. It's not so much the case with the Kamalas and the Cory Bookers and the Kirsten Gillibrands of the world. They don't have the pull that Hillary Clinton had. Now, it's really at this point something I've expected this from Howard Dean. He's a flip-flopper. He's, what I say, he's extremely politically malleable. He used to be considered the Bernie Sanders of the elections when he got kind of routed out in 2004 because of how left he was. But as soon as he got done with that, he became like a Democratic star. He is the very definition of a sheepdog. This guy, who was considered to be on the more progressive side at the time, ends up being the chair of the Democratic National Committee. Do you think that would ever be Bernie Sanders? Hell no. I have not heard a negative word about Howard Dean, really, from even progressives up until very recently. I haven't even heard a negative word about Howard Dean since the general election. I didn't hear a negative word about Howard Dean during the 2008 election. He did a pretty good job of running the show there. But you were this super progressive guy. Now, fast forward to 2016, 2017, and they're constantly bashing Bernie, saying that he's not a Democrat. Like, that matters if you're progressive and your policies align with what is right for the future of this country and the people who live in it. Then it shouldn't matter your political affiliation, right? I mean, that's how I feel. And the fact that they're using, like Donna Purcell in her interview with Tim Black, obviously Hillary Clinton talked about it over and over and over again in her book, like that was important to us. You know, Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat, okay? You know, chicken isn't fish, like, but I'm sure both of them still taste good. I don't understand what your point is. Like, and that's reality. But the fact that Howard Dean like is beloved and considered, you know, a progressive, actually, you know, quotations, and he was quote unquote the Bernie Sanders of 2004, and that he ends up somehow as the DNC chairperson later on during the Obama years. Clearly, that is the definition of a sheepdog. Okay, like I said, Bernie Sanders legitimately scares the establishment. You don't go through such lengths to stop someone from winning unless you are scared out of your mind that they are going to put themselves in a position to completely and totally just change everything around you. Take away your golden goose, essentially. And I'm interested to see how this plays out. But no, Howard, I'm not playing the ageism game. I know it's just like this. I don't tell someone because they have PTSD that they can't work for me, unless that PTSD has actually proven to stop them from being functional in the job or the occupation at hand. Otherwise, that is discrimination based off of mental health issues. They have to prove it. Now, once again, I'm not going to put them in a stressful situation. Like if he has crazy PTSD, we don't make him a police officer. That should be common sense. Like if Bernie was, I don't know, in a position where it was only him, no vice president, no party aperture, no hierarchy, then no, out of sheer intelligence, you know, and common sense, really, don't put a 76, 77-year-old man in office. But we have so many steps for democracy, thankfully, that we can put him in there and take the risk because he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. Hasn't been to the hospital, hasn't even been to the damn doctor, it seems like. Outside of the physical they forced him to have because he was running for office. So the whole ageism thing, I'm not really a fan of it. I don't understand. Oh, he's just too old. Like, his age is remarkable because of the experiences that come with that 74, 75, 76-year-old man. Just going through all the years that we've been with him. He's literally been, that's crazy thinking about that. Like, we've seen him, Bernie, age 3 years since we first encountered him. But this is a man who literally was arrested defending black people, dragged across the dirt, chained himself to a black woman, refused to back down during the civil rights movement, refused to back down during this economic battle that we're having, this social movement that we're having, and refuses to back down from the establishment as well, which is, like I said, very bold. And at that point, Bernie can sit his old ass in office, and I will support him 100% of the way if he's doing what he's supposed to do. If he's bringing the experiences of someone who was fighting for people who look like myself, for women, for women's rights, then why not? That is the experience we need. I've had a chance to be an activist, but I haven't had 50 years of it. You know what I'm saying? Kamala Harris hasn't even used the time she's been on this earth to do any activism work. Neither is Cory Booker. And this is a man who has 50 years of it. Never sold out. So if age is what's going to stop you from voting for him, Howard Dean, why don't you just tell us the truth? It's because you want the establishment to win. Because even though you say you're for the young people, for the youth, if you will, they told you what candidate they want. We told you. You refuse to acknowledge that. It will bite you in the butt again, like it bit you in the butt last time. If you don't start recognizing that the youth have spoken, we have chosen our candidate, and they will choose him again. He's still the most popular candidate in the country. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, share the video, donate to that One Follow $1 campaign at that Patreon link below, and always remember, find your balance. Peace.